You guys gotta let me know when it's 6. I forgot my phone.
5 minutes.
5 minutes?
Yeah, I got about 3.5 minutes.
It starts moving slow, I go in and clean it out. I shut the computer off and turn it off.
I custom built myself a
You better
server.
hurry.
Oh, I did.
Biden's speaking tonight.
Yeah. Boy, is a cutie gonna love when I send him the bill for a new one of those. $37,000 is the quote.
Really?
Yeah. We'll see how they respond to that.
Well, the one I would need would be about $1.25, so.
I didn't pay that for it. Like I said, I built it myself.
Yeah.
This is what it would cost to have a dealership do it. A Dell dealership.
What you can do with that stuff. He had a computer on top of a computer here yesterday.
The other one's in here. I,
Caught it in there.
yeah, it's in there.
Jeff, you should have wore yellow or pink. That really, or light blue.
Well, pink would have been nice, John.
I was thinking green for St. Patrick's Day, but
Yeah. I think I like green.
but all my green stuff's t-shirts, like I can't wear that.
Yeah.
I went out to dinner last week, Saturday, and I couldn't for the life of me figure out why it was so busy downtown. There's people everywhere, and everybody was wearing green, and
Oh.
they're doing like a bar thing.
Yeah, St. Patrick's
I've had
Day
that happen to me
Saturday.
before.
Yeah.
We
And there was a concert going on or something.
shamrock
So
shuffle.
this Saturday,
Yeah.
is St. Patrick's Day.
There's something,
St.
yeah.
Patrick's Day is actually 8
They do it
days
every year.
ahead on a Sunday, so why didn't they do it the next Saturday, which is the 16th?
A lot of times
Irish.
A lot of times Chicago pulls a lot of Milwaukee. It's big in Chicago.
Oh, maybe a lot of people want to come up here and then want to go to Chicago, so they do it
Right.
here every
Well, the
year.
Chicago, yeah, they dye the river.
Yep. There's a lot of green beer.
Yep. They
Are-
dye
are
it.
we
Probably have a
six?
snowstorm that weekend.
We got like a minute and a half.
That's good afternoon.
We got St. Patty's Day run Saturday
At the golf course?
downtown.
Oh,
Probably.
That's just
who's the sponsor? Northwestern Mutual?
Lucky Town
Oh.
bar.
Oh, I
They started at 5 so they can start drinking at 6.
Go and run to the corner.
Yeah.
Pretty much all the runs that they do give you bear at the end, so it's just,
Oh, that's funny.
By the time you get near the end, you gotta run to the bathroom.
30 seconds.
30 seconds?
Yep.
We'll have to get a countdown in here like they do for like TV sets.
For all the people in the.
Yeah, our big audience.
Our big audience, yeah. You like those big Texas churches where it's like a concert.
Six.
Cameras on.
Yep.
Ready
Should
to
be.
roll?
Should be.
I'm just gonna go like this. Come in. I'm opening the Village Vernon Board meeting. Today is Thursday, March 7th at 6 p.m. We're at the Village Hall. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance of the flag and a moment of silence. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Jim, don't sit down here. It's like,
Oh, yeah. Oh, Jim,
Yeah.
God, don't sit down.
Yeah.
While Jim's sitting down, Brad, could you please do roll call and open meeting compliance?
President Chu.
I'm here.
Trustee Slaney.
Here.
Trustee Finch.
Here.
Trustee Newman.
Here.
Trustee Millies.
Here.
This is me, was noticed and posted according to law.
Thank you, Brad. Are there any public comments? Jay, you want to, Brad, can you turn on the microphone?
Yeah. This one.
He's got to turn the microphone.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. Hi, Jay Pekka, W258-S7005, Oakdale Road. First of all, I'd like to say that if we have any teachers that teach at the Oak Creek High School, chances are, you know my sister-in-law, Lindsay, she's the vice principal there. It's a nice high school and in a nice area, but what I'm really up here for is we had 2 bad fires in the village here. I think right about fall, there was a house that looked like it was built in the 50s. It was a small ranch, and it was a chimney fire that started the whole house on fire. And I met the guy up at Quick Trip because we almost have the same pickups. And he may be buying my old red pickup when I'm looking for a new one right now. But what happened was he started the stove up, went outside, then came back in the house, and I guess the house was filled up with smoke. And I guess the chimney fire really got into the attic or whatever. So if I could really emphasize to our people, if you are burning wood for heat, and if you use your fireplaces a lot in the winter time, it's best to have your chimney cleaned. Now, all of you know that I burn wood for heat. I have 2 full masonry fireplaces with wood burners on them, and I do go up and clean mine out once a year. But that's changed ever since that house up on Oakdale, in the village of Waukesha, where a fireplace set the whole house on fire. I said, no more of that. I'm going up. I'm going up on the roof twice a year to clean it out. And second of all, we had another bad fire. And when I found out what caused the fire, I just almost fell over. It was a house on, trying to think of the name, is it Prairie View, or the one that goes through the golf course? That one goes through the golf course.
Prairie Side Court.
Prairie Side Court, that's the one. Well, first of all, it was a customer of mine that has the Up to Drive service. And he wasn't out, I thought he didn't have it out on time, so I went back and checked. And I met the guy, and when he told me that he had a fire in his house, I honestly could not believe it. It was a gas fireplace that set the house on fire. And he said that it was like the feed line to the actual gas unit itself. Now, I'm just speculating. Sometimes I just wonder, once you turn the fireplace on, and if there was like a leak in the line up to it, I just wondered if that, once you had the fire going, it got the leak, the leak or whatever in the line, and that started all the wood on fire. Because what happened was it followed that fireplace all the way up, and it made itself into the attic. The attic, even the attic windows were boarded up. So if I could really emphasize to our people also, please have your gas appliances checked so often. There could be tiny leaks that you can't even smell. Now, when I had my gas meter changed, I have a garage heater. I don't use it at all, but I had them check it. And I had a small leak. It was in the pilot tubing. So I replaced it myself, and I was able to fix it. So, like I say to the people, please have your gas appliances checked every so often.
Okay, thank you, Jay. Have a nice evening.
Okay, thanks.
Is there any objection to the board if we deviate and get Deputy Riley Schmidt?
Get him on the road, yes.
Just wanted to ask, Deputy, is there any news, any reports? We'll have our actual physical report next month. Is there anything you need to report to the board, or are we doing a good enough job? All right, sir. Well, you're welcome to stay, and thank you so much for your service. Stay safe. Thanks again. Gentlemen, we are going to jump right into our DPW director, Brett, is going to talk to us about the equipment that's used on the village right away. Brett, Bartel, did you want to talk to the board about, this came up at staff and we said we'd put it on the board agenda just in case.
It was just brought up that some people didn't necessarily like the way it looked when we used forestry mower along the roadsides, so talked about it during staff. And basically it was, yeah, my concern with not using it is we've invested the money in the piece of equipment, the safety behind it. You're not putting guys out there with chainsaws, and the efficiency. We do our best to pick up behind it. It does, yes, not always leave the prettiest mess, but in 6 months you can't tell we were there. And it does effectively push the brush backwards. In short, to recap basically what we talked about at staff. So yeah, if there was any sort of concerns about it or anything like that, feel free to reach me or call me, but.
Just to clarify, the board, at least myself on the board, didn't know necessarily what we were buying when they bought that brush hog, whatever, you know, or at least never knew we were going to use it on the trees. It does a great job, you know, clear cutting back, which is really nice, even on Center Drive down, wherever Center Drive is down there. It used to be quite close to the road, and now you're able to cut it back good 10 feet the other side of the ditch, you know, which really looks nice and a lot safer, because it keeps you can see the deer if they're coming out, you know. However, when you turn it vertical and cut the trees, it looks like hell. It looks like a war zone for a period of time.
Right, and I agree with you there. And like I said, my statement to that is the safety of a guy with a chainsaw out there. Yes, it looks nicer, but
And a chainsaw doesn't work really good on that thin parts of the trees like that, you know,
right,
or bushes that are there, you know.
yeah, and the time spent. It definitely takes significantly more time to go through a
Yep.
area like that with a chainsaw. So
It just came as a shock the first time they used it,
yes, no,
you know.
I can understand that.
Yeah, wouldn't we use it last year, Jim, when John was here?
Yes, they did, yeah. And that was really took people by surprise, and our past president was, because that was on his way home every day, so it, you know.
He was not happy, he was not happy.
He definitely was not happy.
And there were a few residents that called, said
Yeah.
they're,
And
Fence
I
got
mean,
damaged.
whenever we tend to use it, I tend to get a call or so, but then as you explain it, most people seem fine with it then. They might not be thrilled with, like you said, how it initially looks, but if you look at Center Drive now, you're a year out from it, you can't tell that they were there. So,
discussion from the board? Trustee Newman?
Yeah, and with how tight municipal budgets are getting, I don't think we have too much of a choice other than be as efficient as we can, as well as safety is obviously number one priority. The only comment I have about it is, and you seem to have done that, is use your best judgment on what it's to be used on and what it's not. You know, somebody has nicer looking trees in their front yard, maybe don't use it on that. If you're doing it along, you know, Maple here, where it's mostly farmland, you know, and brush and buckthorn, it doesn't matter. That's where we should be using it.
I mean, I agree. There's definitely spots that it's much easier to get away with using it than if somebody has decorative bushes as a line to block their road. Obviously, go by and take them all down, you're gonna have somebody pretty unhappy, but.
I mean, this typically doesn't happen on our residential roads, but I know Asherpin, the company that does it, you know, on the highways and stuff, people get call here and get so mad that half their tree was cut away, but it's because it's in the power line, so I, you know.
Energies will do it all the time.
Yeah. So, any other comments from the board? Or Brad, we're gonna have you jump in to do your commercial for spring brush pickup on item number be? Just letting residents know.
So this year, it's gonna be from May 6th to May 13th. Or
And
May
that-
6th, the week of May 6th and the week of May 13th.
But it has to be out on the 5th.
Yeah, if you get it out the day before, because once we drive by, we won't be running back. Basically, nothing over 8 feet long, nothing over 14 inches in diameter, and we're gonna keep a limit of 10 feet long by 4 feet high. This year, there might be a little leniency, but you'll get a postcard in the mail, because in the future, that way there's an established limit that everybody can, it's not arguable, 10 feet long by 4 feet. And it's just a way to limit time there. It's an easier way to justify the way that we were doing it in the past. We had to come up with some sort of physical size rather than a time limit. It's too hard to.
And Brett, I know some of our residents combine piles to be more efficient, but should we tell them not to do that?
I think if you combine piles, it's fine. Maybe give us a call, or if obviously one's out and the next one isn't, we'll use our best judgment too. I
Okay.
had somebody call the other day, they had a pile out, and I asked them if that was theirs and their neighbors, or what was their plan. And I said, because you're kind of pushing it, and this and that. And he goes, oh, my neighbor actually put all of theirs in my pile also. I was just calling. So, and I told him, as long as the pile doesn't get any bigger and your neighbor doesn't have any out, we'll grab that pile, but let's not make it double it in the next month or so.
If they do have more than that, can they drop off the excess?
Yes,
here?
I've been telling anybody lately, because of the ice storm, with the amount of tree damage there was, if they want to bring it in and drop it off, they have till we grind. So you can bring it in now, 7 to 3, any day, Monday through Friday. So once we grind, I try to keep that kind of empty for stone and stuff thereafter. So I'll try to limit it unless we get some sort of bad storm or something like that again. But
Any other comments from the board? So just a reminder, if you're east of Center, your May 5th Sunday, have it out on Sunday, because once you come through on Monday, and then west of Center is Sunday, May 12th. And then, Brett, do you want to do your DPW report? You're welcome to stay through the whole meeting, but I thought if you wanted to do your report and take off or stay, whatever.
I can if you guys want. Doesn't matter to me.
Does it matter to the board?
You don't know what.
So, with the nicer weather, we've been trying to take care of as much sod damage as we can. Way ahead of schedule, which is good, because then we can start doing more. Well, I'd like to tar River Oaks. I'd like to get that done while the road is fairly new. Those cracks are starting to open, preserve the road. Then start doing as much shouldering as we can. I've seen a ton of load shoulders around the village. And just get into as much spring stuff as I can, as early as I can. We'll see how much we can pound out throughout the year. But if I can take care of all the sod damage now, and if we don't get another bad storm or anything.
What do you do for sod damage?
Generally speaking, it's mostly raking the stone back up to the shoulder.
Okay.
Sometimes if you tear if you rip a big thing of sod up, you're pulling the sod up or putting some sort of soil back and then it's reseeding.
But that's normally on our right of way, right?
Yes, it is, but you have to do something, and you can't leave the stone all in there. That's generally the big problem, because even a lot of them that do have sod that's grown in there, it's stone underneath.
Yeah.
So once you peel all that sod back, you're whipping stone off into the ditch itself. So a lot of it's raking stone back up with power brooms, and then just making it kind of look nice again. If you peel the sod back and it's just one chunk, you can drag it back up and stomp it in.
Yeah.
Some spots, if it's bad, like I said, you might have to add a little soil over the top or something. But if it's stone right along the main road, then we put stone right there. We don't seed it or anything like that.
That's what I was getting for it. I didn't know if it was residents' expectations, that it would be
Sometimes I've got
fancy.
I've got a couple.
Gentlemen, I have to warn you, the attorney said we can't have, so you make your report, and if we need to put this on the agenda, Jim, we will, so that we don't violate the open meetings law.
Okay.
It's not an open meeting, well, probably the subject was on the
It's not
agenda.
a DPW report, he doesn't have anything under his report. If he had salary,
Oh, okay.
see? But we can put it on the next time you're here.
Okay. But
Is that
yeah,
okay, Jim?
generally,
Good.
generally speaking, yeah, we've been replacing some of the old village, or the old town signs. I got stickers just to reface them, so I didn't have to buy all new aluminum. So those are starting to turn over to say Village of Vernon rather than town. I bought those at the end of last year's sign budget, and they've come in now, so just stuff like that that we can do while it's not frigid cold, and more spring type stuff. And coming soon will be, we gotta start on fields, start prepping fields and stuff too, so.
And Brett, one thing that is on the agenda is the brush clearing on 164. You want to explain to the board what a great job you guys did there based upon what you could do?
Yeah, well, the permit was pulled. We cut back anything that was invasive along the fire department in that right of way, and DOT's right of way. Any tree that was damaged or dead that the DNR marked for us, and pruned up the trees that we did have to leave. They were the natural trees to the state of Wisconsin, so we weren't allowed to touch those, but we cut them up as high as we could. We looked into having the fence taken down, but that is not gonna happen, basically. So the weeds that are there are basically there. They're grown into the fence. And then we came through and we sprayed everything. Chemical Jeff recommended to keep everything back. So that's, we did that a week or so ago.
And now you can ask any questions you want, because it's on the agenda.
I don't care.
I just wanted to say to the public, when you look at it, I mean, you guys did a great job, and the fence looks terrible only because you could not touch the fence. The DOT was...
They were very clear about it
Yeah.
when we even asked that, leave the fence how it is. That
It's down in some parts, it's mangled in parts.
we offered to pull it down and clear up everything, and they said no, so.
So if anybody complains about the stuff left in the fence, they were very anal about
It's the DOT fence, and they told us no, so.
So anything else, Brett?
I don't think so.
All right.
Before Brett leaves, the tubing contract for spraying the fields, you
Yes.
know that?
Yes.
Okay.
And Brett, I know for years we've gotten bids and nobody could ever touch that price.
I don't know how that you guys got the price you guys got,
It's a good price.
because I've had a quote for just my lawn at my house, which is a half acre and not 40, and they want to charge me like $2,000 for a summer.
But this is your recommendation also, Brett?
Yeah, I would stick with what this is. If you guys are worried about dandelions and stuff, I would stick with what you guys have. I mean, if you guys want me to go out and give bids, I gladly can, but I don't think anybody's gonna come in.
And I know previous boards have asked for bids year after year and nobody could ever touch what they're doing it for here. All right.
And after talking to the guy, he seems pretty lenient. If you guys were to want more applications or anything, he's like, give me a call. I'm pretty lenient, I'll be able to work it in. So,
Okay. Any other questions for Brett on the contract? Then we're going to move into item C. This is we'd have to, I should probably say we did adopt ordinances approving the detachment and attachment of lands between the villages of Vernon and McGuanago. Brad did submit that to the DOA, and the DOA did give Brad comments, and John, I'm sure you all read Attorney Macy's letter in regards to what we should do. So just to get things started, I'd make a motion to rescind the ordinance 2020-2401, an ordinance approving the detachment of territory from the village of Vernon to the village of McGuanago. Is there a second to my motion? Second by trustee Newman. Is there a discussion on the motion? And for the audience, if we're not discussing this a lot, we got the email from Brad, we got the letter from the attorney. It's pretty clear, so if there's not a ton of discussion, just so the public knows, we had a lot of good information in the packet. Discussion on that motion. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Is there a motion to approve the detachment of territory, approve ordinance number 2020-24-5, and ordinance approving the detachment of territory from the village of Vernon to the village of McGuanago?
And can you just add in there potentially that allow staff to make any minor changes so that legal description or grammatical can be changed?
Is there any objection? I have no objection to putting that in. I'll make that motion. And trustee Newman is seconding it. Brad, have these gone to the attorney?
The original ones did.
Yeah.
This one hasn't because it was all just grammatical in the ordinance. So those changes were made. We got the new exhibits were, as you saw, the state made a comment that exhibits had to change. So those exhibits came back. We just want to make sure they just came back like late yesterday. Just want to make sure that the legal descriptions are still good and match in there
The only
as they
thing
should.
is, we do have a memo that says all ordinances go to the attorney.
I can send it to them.
I just want to check with the board what you're feeling, because this is a law. I mean, I'm sure it won't be a lot of money on it, but I would add that to my motion contingent on legal review and staff, as Brad stated, staff making minor changes.
Especially something like this where we're literally attaching and detaching.
Right.
I prefer that as well.
Do you agree, Dylan? You second that motion. Do you agree with that also?
Yes.
Further discussion from the board? Discussion hearing none. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I'll make a motion to rescind ordinance 2020-2401, an ordinance approving the attachment of territory from the village of Vernon to the village of McGuanago. Is there a second to my motion?
Second. I guess.
Second by trustee
Train going.
Newman.
Easy to do that.
Yeah.
Discussion from board members. Discussion, hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Then I make a motion approving ordinance 2020-2406, an ordinance approving the attachment of territory from the village of Vernon to the village of McGuanago. Is there a second to my
With
motion?
those same conditions as
Oh,
the,
yes.
as the previous
Contingent on
one.
legal review and minor changes made by staff.
Second.
Thank you, Dylan. Trustee Newman, discussion from the board. Discussion, hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next agenda item, we discovered from the fire department that they felt that there were incorrect amounts approved in our resolution. So this resolution Brad sent the old resolution, they sent the new one back to the board. So the resolution 2020-2405 is a resolution correcting the 2020-24 fire department wages.
Is this just the wage numbers we agreed on?
Yeah, yes, yeah. I know,
No, actually. We agreed on the percent increase, right? But what was in the resolution wasn't what we agreed upon.
right,
Yeah.
yep, and the battalion chiefs, we agreed that up there is because of the amount of time that, so we sent it to the, fire department to make sure the chiefs reviewed it also.
So at the end, it's what we intended.
Oh,
So just the highlighted areas are the changed. I'll make a motion to approve the resolution to correct compensation and reimbursements for the fire department effective January 1st, 2024. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second that.
That was seconded by trustee Finch. Discussion, gentlemen. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Gentlemen, this is one of our reoccurring temporary Class B retail license for Vernon Evangelical Lutheran Church located at South 90 West 27550 National Avenue for a fundraising event for the confirmation students. The event will occur on April 13th, 2024. I'm going to recuse myself from discussion
I'll
and
make that
motion.
Second.
Only because my grandson is one of the confirmation. I have a motion made and seconded, and in the motion, Brad and Jim, would you mind just adding, you agree that it's for a fundraising event for the confirmation students?
Yep.
Because that's very important on the Class B. Discussion, we've never had any problems, right, Brad?
No, not that in the 1 year I've been here, we haven't had any
Yeah.
problems, but previous history I've heard there
She was
has.
really rowdy the last time we held this event.
But I've not heard of any issues in the past either, so.
Alrighty, all in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We have board members, I don't know if you want, time, obviously, none of us, we never break the open meetings law. And on the agenda, Deputy Schmidt came in at the last meeting talking about the city of Muskego's exemption for nonprofits. And man, I think I thought their ordinance was really, really good. What did you guys think of it? I mean, some of it's above and beyond. I did call our businesses to see, those little trucks that come by and sell sandwiches, at lunchtime. That doesn't happen here in Vernon very often, but it'd be nice to have that in the ordinance. If it does, at least we'd have something. I don't know what your feeling was. Is there parts that you would like to keep? And I don't know what you guys feel, but when I Google canvassing, when I think of canvassing, but I go back to, I always think of elections, canvass. And I did check in the state statutes, and it talks about canvassers being solicitors. But I didn't know if there's something, if you guys want to do this at a working meeting, or if there are parts that you liked, or parts that I just thought Muskego's was really well done. Any comments, guys?
Who did Kenneth Steele, not Macy?
Nope.
No. And at this time, this was done Macy's firm was there in 2009. Ours is from 2004. But Macy, they haven't been there for about 3 or 4 years, but I'm sure John knows this. Or, no, it would have been, Stan Riffle was their attorney, but one of the partners there.
Is there a possibility we can just take your ordinance,
Oh, it'd have to be tweaked to Vernon.
change it right into Vernon,
Right.
and pass it?
Well, I think it needs potentially some discussion on some of the parts.
Right.
For example, the canvassers. My feeling is we don't want a whole bunch of that.
Right.
And that's been the sense,
Right.
from the residents in the past.
Or have it very controlled.
Yeah.
On the other issue, I know at the next board meeting, and Dylan, you probably can speak to this also, the chief, all four of the chiefs have called me numerous times when we've had fires in Vernon, and there's several particular companies that come up to the poor resident when their house is on fire, and the chiefs get very angry because they're actually soliciting. They're not coming from the people's insurance. I don't know, Dylan, did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I'll definitely add some to that. We'll keep a little bit of it for the next meeting, because you said the chiefs come
Yeah.
in knowing you.
Yes.
So I had a particular company when my garage was on fire show up telling me they were from my insurance company, or my insurance company had sent them to contract the rebuild. While the fire department's spraying water.
Spraying water on it.
Oh,
And
Come on. Really?
we really ought to protect our residents from that. I mean, with everything going on, I wouldn't have signed anything, but you never know what I would have agreed to had the chiefs not have told the sheriff's department, get them out of here right now.
And I've heard them on the radio, saying they're not very happy when they're trying to fight a fire, and some idiot, no offense, is running around trying to get that poor person's signature.
So our fire department has seen this.
Numerous times.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so what we do is, what I'll do is kind of tweak it and bring it back to the board. We'll bring it back and forth, just not spend a lot of time on it right now. But I will send it over. I know Brad's got a couple comments he wanted to make on it, the chiefs. So we'll kind of send it around to everybody and get their thoughts, and then bring it back after we've got some more discussion. But just so Riley knows that we're working on it.
And it's disappointing to find out I've never had a fire.
Oh, and that happens a lot, and our chiefs are not very diplomatic, because they're angry. They're trying to fight a fire.
They're in the way, yeah.
Yeah, so like I said, no action at this time, board members. We're just gonna pass it around, and we'll bring it back, and then bring it back and forth, because that's the only way we can do things, is publicly. We never do this behind closed doors, right, guys?
That's right.
Okay, gentlemen, the next agenda item is, Madison, is the last name Butts? Brad?
Yes, I believe so.
Brad, I'm sure you have looked at all the information Madison has supplied to you for her operator bartender's license. Do you believe it's in good order that the village board can approve that?
Yes.
I'd make a motion to approve the operator bartender license for Madison Butts based upon the administrator clerk's statement that everything is in order
And paid?
Yes.
and paid.
They don't get on the agenda if they haven't paid.
Is there a second to my motion?
Second.
Second by trustee Slotty. Discussion from the board. Discussion, hearing none. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Gentlemen, this came up at our finance meeting, and Jim, I know how you're going to speak on this one. One of the things that Tom had said, and I know Jim had asked for some more CPAs or accountants or people with a financial background that'll actually look at things, you know, before they go to the board or in conjunction with the board, and just wanted to get the board's feeling on how you feel about it. Jim, how do you feel about that?
Yeah.
I know Jim's been saying that for years, right, Jim?
Exactly, yeah, you know,
It's tough.
especially at budget time.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, we're doing things, my humble opinion, we're doing things ass backwards.
Mhm.
Okay, pardon the expression. But we're approving paying the check, which is ass backwards. We should be approving the concept of purchase first. Then it can go up. Once we've already purchased the product or service, it's our liability. We have to pay the check. All we can do at best is see if what they billed us is what somebody said they were going to bill us. Okay? But that doesn't manage the budget properly. Again, my opinion when I say properly. And that's where somebody with real world business acumen and accounting skills could help manage that. Now I know nobody wants to go to a purchase order system, which is the lifeblood of business. You know, that's how you do things. You get a budget, and as long as you can maintain within your budget your purchases, the purchase is approved, and then it's just for the accounting side to pay the bills. It's our liability already. We have to pay the damn thing. You know, we took the service.
I have a question though.
Yep.
If we have to get approval on everything before we buy it, that's gonna slow down the whole process of purchasing.
Potentially.
Potentially, I think for sure.
No,
Right?
not if it's done properly.
Okay.
Not if there's proper prior planning. There's another half to that saying, though, with that we'll go for now.
Yeah, because we're just gonna focus on getting assistance doing all that.
Right. But the concept of having somebody else helping us do the budget, somebody outside of the inner circle, if you will, that has the accounting background for budgeting and purchasing and the like, would greatly help control our budgets. You'd get feedback from them on when you should be going out for bids. I'm a believer that we should be going out for bids all the time for a lot of different things, which we don't. That doesn't, you know, I'm not saying you gotta buy the lowest price always, because there's value. But again, people that have that experience can help you make that decision.
Well, any major purchase we have, we do it through quotations, and then ambulances.
I won't agree with that, but I would agree we should.
But I think we do, don't we? They come to
Statutorily,
the board and ask.
statutorily, anything that we have to bid out, our attorney always looks at the.
Yeah, but we're talking things that are $24,000 or $25,000 to $30,000. Nothing below that. Well, you know what, we can save a lot
Oh,
of
is anything
money.
over 10,000 or something?
Yeah, it's in the 20s by statute.
When we bought it.
I know it is.
Our ordinance is 5,000. They're supposed to
Which
afford.
we don't follow our own ordinance in that case. But neither here nor there. The issue is, yeah, I think we need more help on that, on the finance side.
So is there a motion from the village board to solicit assistance from CPAs, accountants, or people with a financial background to assist the finance committee in developing a good finance committee for the village board to lean on or work with when it comes to financial assistance with the Village of Vernon.
Yeah, I'd like to make that motion for discussion, because I got one question about the motion.
Okay. Okay, that's my motion. Or do you want me to restate it, Brad?
No.
It's just basically soliciting
Yeah.
CPAs, accountants, or, people with financial background to assist the finance committee.
When we say assess, is that a paid position?
No,
That's what I'm wondering.
it's volunteer.
Oh,
It's volunteer.
okay, fine, that's fine.
Yeah, yes. And yeah, I should specify that. And I know we're not in, well, can somebody second it so we can go into discussion?
I made the motion kinda.
Oh, you did make the motion. Okay, then I'll second it. I just wanted to say, there was a gentleman that was watching the meetings last year. Phenomenal financial background, but he wanted to know how much he'd get paid. And I laughed and he said, well, is the wage that low? I said, wage is nothing. So, I mean, but we do have a lot of retired CPAs, accountants, I mean.
We used to have one. Yeah, besides Tom, another CPA.
Well, that was, oh my God, how come I can't?
Can't think of his name either, I don't know whether.
Ed Hall.
Huh?
Ed Hall.
Ed Hall.
Yeah, he was a CPA, but he was retired and
Yeah.
not in the best health, so at some point, you gotta, but I think we do have some people in Vernon with that background that, in fact, one of the bankers that helped one of our developers moved into Vernon, and I asked him, hey, would you ever consider it? And he said he would, so.
Since we're discussing,
Right.
is there gonna be like a minimum purchase thing where if we need
Well,
something
this,
right away?
we're not even into that. We're just looking for the assistance, we're trying to build a finance committee, of professionals, retired professionals that can assist the board. They would not be, they would always, the advisory to the board. The board is the governing body that, but they could make suggestions or help with the budget, and it's not, I mean, we do have, members on the finance committee that are board. We're not trying to preclude anybody from that, but we just felt that if there was a group of people that could work during the day on some of the things when Brad's here too, or Brad, if he wanted to bounce things off of CPAs, that's nice that you don't have to pay for those, that, so. Further discussion from the board? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And just doing a commercial, if there's any CPAs, accountants, or people with a financial background that are interested in helping the Village of Vernon, please contact any board member or Brad, and we'd be happy to take your name. Thank you, gentlemen. Next agenda item is the citizen survey. My question is, I know Brad wants to get this newsletter out fast, and we have not had any time to discuss it. Does the board want to meet like on Monday to go through it? What's the board's position?
This right here?
Yes.
Let me begin the discussion with, I think that should be true here. There should be three going that way. I've spent the last probably 3 weeks going through surveys and surveying people and the like. What you have in your hands is a sample survey that was whipped up for me by a company, I don't know, quality something. I don't see there. Quantisoft. Hands down the best in the business as far as I'm personally concerned. I went through literally 50 to 60 different sites. Gained a lot of information on surveys from these guys. One thing you'll note is that every question on here has an area for comments. Now, we originally, when we first talked about the survey, we poo-pooed that whole concept of comments because that's very difficult to figure out what it all means, because you never know what people are going to write anyway. However, what was pointed out to me by numerous, but especially these guys,
was if you ask for, a lot of them are satisfaction questions. Are you satisfied with how the roads are being plowed in the snow? And they say yes, okay, that's good. And they say no, well, that doesn't help us at all, because it doesn't tell us what they're not happy about. So if you have a comment area, you'll get some definition of what they're not happy with. You won't get as much on the positive side, which is kind of human nature, but we will get some. These guys felt very strong that you should have it on every question. Now, okay, if you don't have it on every question, the next best thing is one at the end of the section that you're dealing with. You know, you might have one just questions on satisfaction. You might have another section on, you know, what might be the fire department or, you know, something like that by section, and then you might have a thing on it. So, in my mind, I think we should reconsider having comments. Now, I would just say go to these guys and get done with it, because they will create the survey with our help. We tell them, you know, what the interest points. They'll help with the verbiage. They'll help with advertising it. They recommend 100% online. You're not going to find people that don't have computers very much. You know, at this day, because you can do it on your telephone, you can do it on a computer, on a laptop, whatever. They would still go ahead with a paper one, or you could have a computer just set up here that they could come in here and use to fill it out if you wanted to. A lot of different things like that. But they do 100% of the analysis. Within the day after, they'll give you a report of all the yays and nays. But it takes about another 2 weeks to analyze the comments and come up with what it really means. If we don't, the whole purpose of doing this survey is to change how we're doing things, where we're not doing things as well as we could. But if it's just a yes or no thing, we're not going to know what we need to change. We won't know what they don't like about this service or that service. Another example is I saw on the other one that Karen had, a question about whether you're, I don't remember how it was worded, Karen, it's okay to build a fire department, replace a whole new fire department. Well, you can't expect a yes or no answer on that, because one, the people don't know what the condition really is, and two, they don't know what it's going to cost. They don't know it's going to be like $20 million or $25 million, okay? Or what the hit on the taxes is going to be like. So whatever answers we get back are going to be misleading, you know? I mean, I don't know, in my survey, I had put in one question about, have you been to the firehouse in the last year, as an example, which gives some credence to people saying yes or no, but even that's not the right approach. So there are a lot of different ways to do these surveys. Just ask in yes or no type questions doesn't get us what we, as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't get us what we need to know to make whatever changes we should be making. Now, these guys that do everything give us back more information and reports and analysis and recommendations. However, they cost $10,000. Well, when I got that, well,
Bye.
so much for that idea. Now, I've worked on, Microsoft Office has a real nice survey thing. I did several of those. Just built into it, I can do the survey. Problem is, and it's free, you know, if you got Office, problem is it has limitations, which is what most all the other softwares have. They have limitations. You're limited to the number of questions, you're limited to the number of responses that it can have. All of them, including monkey, whatever.
Survey Monkey.
Survey Monkey, yeah. Which is pretty good. all of them do the same thing. They host the survey on their computer. So it wouldn't even be on our computer. All we would have to do is put a link on our, no matter who we go with, we just put a link on our website that people would go to, and it would automatically run the survey on their computer. And that's how most of them work. Not all of them, but that's how most of the stuff works. Bottom line is, I don't know that we can do the comments thing. Certainly I don't think we can do it on every question by ourselves. Because I think we would be analyzing for a long time. But I think we need to consider the questions that we're asking. Not so much I would imagine that what's in that survey is fairly close to what's in this one. But we need to ask the question more specific, So if it's just a 1 through 5 type of options, that we get down to a specific option in our question. Is the snow plowed often enough? That can give you is it done early enough in the day, or I don't know what we would really question on that. Police coverage, fire department, EMS, same kind of things, only instead of just a yes or no, or in favor of it or not, etc. The question needs to be worded so that we get a specific answer back that tells us what we might want to consider changing. I thought I had a real good idea for a while there until I got the bid back from this guy Howard.
Is it good to do a survey with a lot of questions about everything in our village and that, or is it better to do one quarterly, one on the DPW stuff, one on the fire stuff?
That is what got me going on this in the first place.
That's exactly how I feel, because if we ask too many questions, people aren't gonna do it.
They're gonna go all this.
And actually, that's just the opposite of what I was told by all of the big companies. When I talked to the guy at Monkey whatever.
Surrey Monkey.
Surrey Monkey, and
They bill you per
several
question.
other places. Because I thought, oh, okay, if we're limited in the number of questions, that ain't a big deal, So I was really hot to try that on the one from Outlook, Microsoft Outlook. It limits you to like 20 questions, something like that. But it also limits you to only 1,000 responses, which is a little bit of a kicker when we got like 7,000, I think 7,000, about 7,000 something,
A little over.
I don't know
We
what.
have 3,000 homes, right?
Yeah,
But
but you
multiple
could get,
You could get a couple out of one, but
on each house, that'd be, 6,000 responses.
what is a good feedback for these, as far as
The
doing?
best one we ever had was years ago, but it was a long survey.
But they did say it's better off doing one shot, because what happens if you do the first one, people that actually, there's a lot of people that are going to ignore it. People that actually will do it, they'll do it the first time, and then the second time they'll just think it's the same thing that you just did, and they won't do it after that. So you end up not getting the amount of feedback that you'd like with the shorter surveys. Opposite of what I thought,
You could always put a thing, this is the first of 4 surveys coming your way. Then you have one, and you go, no!
Well, the question is are we taking it out of the newsletter? Because you wanted to get the newsletter out this week for voting and,
With these questions,
well, we haven't decided on anything. And we almost need a separate meeting. We're not gonna go through, I just saw this, I'm not gonna go through this and this all at one meeting tonight.
No?
I think you need a separate meeting to go through, both of them.
Yeah, I think we should take the survey out of this newsletter.
Okay,
We gotta
can
get the newsletter out.
I think we should tell them that a survey is coming in this newsletter, right? To kind of hold we've been screwing around with this for months.
Years.
Already.
A while, yeah.
Years.
Well, I was trying to be kind this time.
I disagree with doing it completely online. I think we should still offer a paper version.
Oh, they said it was, you know,
Okay.
but you're gonna get the better response from online.
We should urge people to do it
Yeah.
online, but if they don't have
Yeah,
the ability
some
to,
way.
we should give them a paper copy available for pickup here or something.
Right.
along
And
that
if you
line.
use a thing like SurveyMonkey, that's an option.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
Google Forms does it for dirt cheap.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
do it that way.
I mean, I went to
Data
the, I went to the
right there.
university and other people too, but when they told me the price of what they wanted, I knew what was in our budget. We don't have any money in the budget for, so I
As I
just.
say, we don't have any money in the
Right,
budget
nothing.
for doing a survey.
Right,
Yeah,
Google Forms is free up to a certain amount of data.
yeah, it's
Surveys a lot of data.
That's what's,
And-
the one I'm talking about is
Yeah.
Microsoft Outlook. This forms is part of
And-
Outlook as well.
SurveyMonkey's like, I think a couple $100 for a 12-month subscription. And I think it's, all the factors we would need are
You're
are
limited to
there.
how many times you can run surveys, the number of responses you get back. You pay more for the number of responses.
Yeah, I mean, and for us, I mean, if we get 500 responses or 600 responses, that's probably good. And if you get anything more than that, it's really good. You're not gonna get a ton, you know, if you think you're gonna get 50% of the population, you're not.
In marketing, when you send out a lot of mailers and stuff on products with cards and you hope to get a bunch back, you get 3% back.
Yeah, so I mean, I've worked with
But-
SurveyMonkey twice and had a lot of success.
There's
You can get more
advantages,
back if there's no.
there's advantages to this, you know, that we'll get more responses because it's in their best interest.
Right.
Because their responses may affect their tax rate, and or improvements on things that they're not happy with, you know. So there is an additional incentive for them to actually fill out a survey. Because what do we get here for people that come to our meetings?
they watch on TV though, or they watch it after the fact. So,
But we get no feedback from it, you
oh,
know.
I do.
I think
Every
you
time I go to
should
church.
take a look at Google Forms, because SurveyMonkey is kind of pricey compared to Google.
So you know what we'll do, gentlemen, is we will, if you take Jim's home with you, study that, and then we'll get a date set that we can, we'll take it out of the newsletter. And, or just let them know that a newsletter, a survey's coming. Brad will do a little article on that.
Yeah.
And,
And the other thing, what got me hot on this in the first place was the question that said, are you okay with adding building a new firehouse? We don't know what that's gonna cost.
Right.
We don't know what that's gonna cost us here, but we're talking 15 to 20,000 just for the fire department. $1 billion, I mean. That's a lot of money.
mhm,
People need to know what the tax impact on that's gonna be on their houses.
right.
Because otherwise, I think we're gonna get no damn near across the board.
So do,
Knowing how our residents are relatively frugal, you know.
and I want to show you, I want to show you one of the surveys that was done in the, it's been a long time ago that we've ever done more than 10 years, so. Do you want to set a date for a meeting now to work on this, or do you want to take this, look at get some information and set a date?
When do we do our next newsletter? Aren't we supposed to do like 4 a year?
Yeah, so it'd be like June.
Yeah, that's not that far away,
Right,
you know.
that's why it'd be nice if we could set a meeting date.
Right. No, I agree.
Should get it done soon.
You know, the problem with the survey is most of these questions, if you're unsatisfied, means we have to spend more money to improve on something. We don't have more money to spend.
And that needs to be, you know,
You know, it's kind of
Put out
like,
there.
a lot of these questions, like, okay, you're not happy with that, but we can't do it, we don't have the money for it. So it's kind of like, why are we even asking that question,
Right.
you know, so.
Right,
Oh.
I mean,
and one question that I added to it sometime in the process to my list was about a referendum.
referendum for,
Like the fire department, the town hall, you know, separate items on a referendum for that exact issue.
Yeah.
Oh, like you say, almost anything's gonna cost money. So if we're saying, oh, okay, this is no good, but the only answer is, we gotta do this, you know, that's gonna cost money, and do we need a referendum to do something over X amount of dollars, or?
Right, and the same with the fire department. I don't think anybody realizes all the problems. You know, that fire department was built in the 80s, not anticipating how fire has changed. I mean, if I was a woman, well, I am a woman. If I was a firefighter applying in our fire department, where I have to sleep in a room with a bunch of guys, no offense. I wouldn't go with Vernon if.
But do we need to build a whole new firehouse for that, or do we just need to add on dormitories?
Right, and I think we need to hear from the fire department, because even though we're going through these meetings, they have a list of all the things that they say is not workable, but.
A lot of our residents aren't gonna know a lot of reference points of why we're even asking this kind of stuff. We need to put an article in with the things you say. This is the issues we're having with our fire department.
Right.
We're gonna have to rethink about it, stop at the fire department, talk to people.
Well, that's what they were hoping, is they get people, because that's the best way, is to visually look at what they're
Right,
dealing
and
with.
we say that and said we're gonna be sending a survey out on this soon.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in the newsletter saying, well, company with a survey in June, how do you feel about it? You know?
Right.
Right now, it's only being pitched as a complete replacement. As far as anything I've heard,
Yep.
Yeah, I know.
that ain't gonna fly. I mean, we need to know, at a minimum, what could be done on a,
An addition or
yeah,
renovation or.
right,
Right.
which would be obviously less than 20 million, you know.
Yeah, I think the highest, was 13 million for the fire department.
Yeah, they were higher than that. They were at,
Yeah, I think the cost right now is like 13, yeah, estimated 13 million, I think it was, the current one. I know they're
I thought it was
refining,
15.
I think they're refining it up.
because there was 15
I thought,
and then
and I thought it was
5
20 for, like, if we did the village hall
Yeah.
and the DPW,
That's good.
and the fire
A little
department was
more
20.
Yeah, I thought they had us at about 8
But we
here,
need
so it'd be right around
Right.
21 or 20, yeah, 21.
You need to have options to make a decision.
Sure.
And we need to make sure that the builder or whoever we got working this thing up is gonna give us,
Yeah, what it would cost to renovate?
to
Mhm.
renovate, to take care of the dormitory, shower problem,
Housing equipment, right, yep.
yeah, the equipment. That's horse hockey. We got some of the best equipment out there.
Oh, no,
Oh.
housing the equipment.
It's how-
Oh, housing.
Cleaning it and, you know,
Yeah.
She's talking about, do we have enough room for all?
things for the hoses, I
Actually, we
mean,
do. Got,
so.
you know, that out of base.
So board members, did you want to set a date, or do you want to get some more information from, like you said, Google and SurveyMonkey and some of the other surveys we've done? Do you want to set a date, or do you want to get all that information and then set a date?
Set a date, and if people want to get more information, they should get it
Oh,
before the meeting.
agreed.
Okay. So do you guys want to meet in the evening, during the day? When would you like to
Day
work?
would be better for me.
Okay, that sounds good. What's it,
Afternoons.
afternoons? Tuesdays and Thursdays are bad for me, but Monday and Wednesdays, not Fridays.
Saturday and Sunday is always open, so. I'm just saying.
Tuesday, Thursday would be fine, as long as it's like 6 or 6:30.
That doesn't work for
In the
me.
Yeah, I
morning?
can't do
That doesn't
Thursday.
work for her.
During the day, yeah, I can't. But I could do Monday or Wednesdays.
No,
In the
I'm saying
afternoon.
in the evening.
Oh, Mondays or Wednesdays are either one, hell, any day is fine with me. I'm tired.
You guys wanna,
You're not fishing every day yet.
Not yet. That's coming.
how's the 27th? Wednesday the 27th. Oh shoot, is that meeting?
What time?
1? You said afternoons are bad for you, Dylan? Or, I mean, good for you,
1
Jim?
would be fine.
What day is that on?
It's a Wednesday, Wednesday the 27th, 1 o'clock. You guys wanna look at it? And if it doesn't work, let Brad know, and
Okay.
let's just do a tentative. I'll make a motion that we, meet to discuss the survey on Wednesday, March 27th at 1 o'clock. And if somebody has a problem with, that's not part of my motion, but if somebody seconds it, Jim, did you second it?
Second.
Jim seconded it, and then if someone has a problem, let Brad know, and then we'll find another date. Does that sound good, guys?
Yep.
And then in the meantime, we'll try to get, all that information to Brad so he can,
We can't
you
do,
know,
we got a Keller meeting at 1 that day.
oh,
On what meeting?
a building meeting. What about Monday, the 25th? Monday, the 25th,
Sounds good now.
Sounds good.
Works for me.
What, 1 PM?
1 PM.
That should be fine.
I'd make a, is there any, I'd make a friendly amendment to my motion to be the 25th. Is there any objection to that, Jim?
No.
Or board members? No, so, let's do it. All in favor of that motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So any information you get to Brad, and then Brad, in the meantime, will condense that newsletter, and, that's the next agenda item, is the newsletter. We're gonna pull anything, and, either Brad or I will write something that the board is working on, developing a survey to get your information in regards to many items that the board deals with. And they don't matter, it doesn't matter to LPI how large our newsletter is, they don't.
We're kind of set at an 8-page or 12-page newsletter. I could ask them if we could, how much work it'd be to decrease to a 12.
Yeah, what do you think?
Or to an 8, I apologize.
Yeah, do you have any objection? I mean,
But we don't know how many pages this is gonna be yet, so.
well, Brad's got, did you see the newsletter that he did?
No, I mean for
Oh.
the survey.
Oh, yeah,
we don't know how much we're
Yeah,
gonna-
the survey will be out in this newsletter, because he's gotta
Right.
get one out
No,
for the
I'm
election.
saying next
Yeah.
one.
Yeah,
Can you call him, Brad, to see what they say?
to get
LPI, if we reduce the number
to
of.
8. To 8 this time?
Yeah.
I can send an email tonight
And see what they say?
and see what they say.
8 this time, 12 next time?
Yeah.
Well, this alone, mine was like 11 pages. I think it was actually 10 pages of questions. I had 1 page, there was some bullshit at the end. Sorry.
I didn't hear anything. Yeah, so,
Question, Brad?
No, with the survey, I think depending on the length, getting in the newsletter is going to be tough because we only have 3. It's a 12-page newsletter, but only 3 pages are full pages where you can put
Right.
something in. But I think, like Dylan said,
We'll put a QR code or a website.
Yeah,
in
if
there
we
and
put-
then have offer to get.
yeah,
Right here.
I think if we put in there when we run it, or we can put in this article and say, we don't have an issue probably mailing it to somebody if somebody is housebound or things like that. We'll have copies here. Like I said, with SurveyMonkey, we can enter stuff in manually into SurveyMonkey so that your data is then populated with everything else. I haven't used Google Forms for it or Docs for it, but I'm sure it probably will do the same thing as long as you get it in. So I think trying to get in a newsletter will be tough, but if we get something that's more solidified, like I said, we're more than happy to work with it. I think we may reach out to the Big Bend Library too as a potential place, or if residents say, hey, where can I do it on the computer? Or McGuanago,
A
but,
lot of people go to McGuanago, Vernon residents, so.
What stops somebody from filling it out 50 times?
so SurveyMonkey has a limit by IP
IP
address.
address?
So,
That's one thing wrong with Microsoft, the Forms version. It does allow you, there's an option on it to allow you to be able to fill it out more than once. You gotta remember to turn that option off, otherwise you get,
You get somebody that's running about something, they fill out 50 times.
yeah.
right.
Complaining
And
about the same thing.
But
yeah.
all the rest of them, these guys, they stress real strong about the anonymity of the responses, that there's no way anybody would ever know who sent it in.
Yeah.
It's just that no way they sent it.
And no
but
way
how
they
many
can do
times
it
they
twice.
sent it.
There's
Yeah.
some people that will put, even though you're not asking them, they'll put their name and address and phone number and want to respond, so, just,
Yeah.
In the 2 times I've done this, and I've done 2 community surveys, and I've done, I think we've done some other smaller surveys too. I haven't run into that issue. We have a lot of great residents that are all happy with how you guys are doing, so I'm sure nobody's gonna wanna stuff the ballot box with bad information. They're all gonna say how great of a job you're doing, so I'm not too concerned about that.
Well, the one guy who says got a speeding ticket, thought he was on free, fills out 50 times, not happy with police, or.
yeah. So gentlemen, we got a game plan for our survey. The issue now, Brad just sent out the newsletter. Would you have any problem sending out that newsletter? There's some tweaks that have to be done as far as dates and stuff. Taking out the survey, putting a small article letting people know that the village board is working on a survey that, you know, we'd love to have your participation and, you know.
Yeah, prime people for it.
Yeah, I agree. In that article, we might be able to put in something about the cost of what we're considering. You know, whether it's 20 million or 5 million, it's a big difference on their taxes. I don't know how to.
Right.
That's kind of the thing, because if you're gonna do that, then are you looking to have a general satisfaction of the whole town? But with this thing, it's $20 million, and that's a specific part of it, I don't know.
They need to know before
I'm
they
just
can
throwing
get
it
an
out
answer.
there, yeah, I know.
I also looked it online, how do you know it's a Vernon resident, not a Big Bend resident filling it out?
You don't, you run that risk, but I mean, I guess, you know, if we're trying to target our Vernon residents more so than,
It'll just be the newsletter, it's not like it's.
yeah, so, and our newsletter is just circulated to Vernon
Yeah.
residents, you know, we're putting on our website, you know, here at Village Hall, you know, if you guys have conversations with the residents, that's a good way to share it. You know, depending on what comes out of the meeting on the 25th, we have the election on
April
the
2nd.
2nd, where we can put up signs and say, or if we have stuff ready, you know, community survey forthcoming in the next week, or, you know, things like that. You know, I think the big thing will be is, when I've usually done them, we've usually given like a 30-day or 45-day response time. The question will be is, you know, for you guys, we don't want to leave it open too long, but do we want to, we're not getting the responses we want, I don't want to say want, or we're not seeing the replies in terms of numbers that we would like to see. How do we generate more per se?
Do we have, excuse me, do we have emails for most of our residents or all of our residents?
Probably not.
No, I mean, only because when I first got elected, I asked the Booker if we have a listing of email addresses, is that an open record request, and can anybody ask for me? He said yes. So we let people know that because a lot of people got their newsletter emailed, and once they found out that was a public record, they retracted their email address.
That's what I was thinking, that we didn't have email address, which is, I understand. But most of the guys that I talked to, that was how they distributed their surveys, was through emails.
I know there's a lot of government service in, that's TextMyGov. A lot of those were the same scenario. I haven't found one that it does the email addresses in-house, so we don't have them. So it's not an open record for a company, but I haven't found any like that yet.
Because this guy in particular, he said the majority of the surveys that they do, and they've been doing it for like 25 years, are businesses, which I don't know why that surprised me. But they do businesses, the majority is businesses. And then and a lot of universities. But the businesses do it for employee surveys and stuff like that, and, you know, so they're doing it all the time. He said the municipal ones, you know, he asked whether we had email addresses, and I told him, I don't think so, you know.
Yeah.
And the ones I've done, I don't think we ever had email lists to start with to drive them. And like I said, I'd have to go back and look at what the response rates were, but I think they were probably in the 5 to 7% range of total population for it.
And yet almost everybody has an email address, but I agree with what you're saying.
So, does it have to be anonymous? I mean, do people really care? I mean, I wouldn't care.
Yeah, you know,
I think,
but some people will, you know.
Yeah, especially if it's negative.
You don't want to cause trouble or be known as a troublemaker.
My taxes are to go up now if I complain about something.
Actually, although I did get several comments on the taxes this year, people were actually quite happy with how the tax rate
it
went.
worked the way, in theory, it's supposed to work.
It certainly did.
But sometimes it doesn't work that way, but it did this time.
It was a little scary when I saw that new number on their assessed value for us.
Yeah.
Well, that's why we have some people in here.
All right, gentlemen, we're off the, we can't talk about taxes now, we're on the newsletter. Is there a motion to approve the spring newsletter with an article, regarding a survey coming, taking what's in there out? And then if we have to fill in with an article or two.
Yeah, and then just changes to the park and rec, updating the park and rec stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
Is there any objection? Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
Was made by trustee Finch and seconded by trustee Newman. Discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And gentlemen, and we also will get some boards ready so that when they're voting on April 2nd, that they know a survey's coming, and we'll get something that the board can look at before next board meeting, to look at something, you know, just to have there, because that'll be a busy election, don't you think,
Yes,
Brad?
yeah, and if we can and we can start putting some stuff up now to inherit that.
Right.
Because we'll have, absentee voting.
Yes. So with that, gentlemen, I'll make a motion to approve the True Green agreement to spray weeds in the village parks and authorize Brett to sign that contract. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Second by trustee Swanee. Discussion?
I noticed they're charging us sales tax, aren't we exempt from that?
Oh, yeah, we have to.
We
get that.
can,
We'll get,
Yeah, I'll talk to him
We'll
before
do
I
it.
sign it then.
it always was exempt. We'll just give them a new, sometimes it's.
Yeah,
yeah, well, it's coming to,
Don't take that out.
I'll email him over the tax exempt paperwork.
Good catch, Jeff. Discussion, any more discussion, men? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The Center Bridge project, I know, trustee Finch and Newman and I were there. There was, out of the hundreds of letters that poor Brad and his staff put out, which is really good to show the state and how hard we're trying to do a public information meeting. Carol Fortner, Todd Bartholomew, and Darlene Johnson was our public. I mean, we appreciate those three people, but it was not well attended, so.
Not until I find out the bridge is gonna be closed.
But we did.
Not until the bridge gets closed, the next.
Then you'll hear about it.
Yeah.
Jim will be collecting tolls at his driveway and shorting the village because he's closer to him than we are, so.
There's both for a ferry service.
Yeah, 400 cars a day, so you got a business model to figure off of there, how to become profitable.
All right, gentlemen, with that, I will turn to the trustees first for their announcements. Jim? Trustee
No,
Swanee,
I
anything?
did my piece already.
Okay. Trustee Finch?
Nothing today.
Trustee Newman? Trustee Nunes?
Nothing except happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody.
Oh.
One day we're all a wee little bit Irish.
I'm going to try to do mine really quick. I wanted to thank Benjamin Ross and Elton Rogers from the DNR. Those gentlemen assisted us in the DOT application. Both were from the forestry, and one was an arborist, because remember the board said we could do this as long as I didn't spend any money. But I just want to do a big thank you to those guys, because they came out and, they were just phenomenal. And don't you think so, Brett? Came out and marked all the trees and,
Yeah, Elgin went through everything, marked anything that we shouldn't touch, that we could find if we took down, and explained anything we could do. And it made it very simple for us to know what we could take down, what we could get rid of, and what we couldn't.
And Elton and I have a meeting set up, because he's got a couple areas where he believes we could get some grant money for some other things, so that was nice that I met him there. And board members, I wanted to tell you, Superintendent Joe Cook had given us a really nice thank you card to the board members for letting him come and present the information on the referendum. And he was very, very thankful, and I can't find where I put the card, but he was very thankful to all board members, and just wanted to remind the public, if they want to watch the referendum information that was presented, it's on YouTube. It was our February 21st meeting, Brad, I think. And then we did get, I hope board members, on October 1st, I know Jim, you won't be here, but on October 1st, we did secure Big Bend Elementary School for our stormwater maintenance meeting, for residents to come and learn what they're responsible for in stormwater management. That's part of our MS4 permitting, so we have that secured. And we have a lot of help besides our village attorney has to be there, our village engineer has to be there also. All the expertise from the county are going to be there and the DNR also, so that'll be a good meeting.
I won't be there.
Well, I mean, that's okay. Do you live in a subdivision? Well, we'll talk later. Also, just wanted to remind the residents, Brad, there are no active peddlers permits right now, because I've gotten a couple phone calls like that, and if people see, or anybody soliciting in your neighborhood, please call the sheriff's department, because they are not supposed to be there. Just call the non-emergency number to let them know that you have a solicitor, and they'll come out right away. They have no qualms about doing that. And just wanted to warn residents, the sheriff's department did say people representing AT&T, Spectrum, We Energies are scamming a lot of our older residents. Just wanted to warn residents, please don't give out any of your credit card or bank information. If you have somebody on the line that's pressuring you with some great deal, call those companies to just reaffirm, because the sheriff's department is getting complaints, so is the Better Business Bureau. So please don't give your information out as far as credit card or banking to somebody that represents themselves on the phone, or they also send emails that it looks like it's coming from the company, so just be very, very careful.
When you started out, you said companies like Webco, Spectrum, but it's not companies.
No, it's not them. I'm sorry, yes, thank you, Jim. It's people representing AT&T,
Right.
representing
False.
Spectrum. Yes, it's not coming from
There's been a lot of stuff on Facebook, not all the same companies, but similar
Right.
scams on Facebook, even in our groups in Vernon, Big Bend, McWanago, Waukesha. Just keep your eyes out.
Right, the sheriff's department did the same thing,
Yeah.
that to be real careful. And lastly, just wanted to, we have just a little reminder, on March 21st, our next board meeting at 6 o'clock, we have a comprehensive land use hearing to look at doing a plan use, an amendment to our comp plan for the property behind the gas station on National Avenue and behind Edgewood Avenue, where the golf course used to be, the little putt-putt. I think it was a Parsec, Craig Hines property. There's a comprehensive land use plan hearing at 6 o'clock at our next board meeting. And with that, I'll turn it over to Brad. Brad?
Just a reminder, as always, regarding peddler's license, we always try to keep the website updated as to any current peddler's license out there that are active in the village. We've just been busy. We're getting ready for April already. Ballots will be going out early next week. We've been busy with a lot of the workhorse stuff, getting that stuff taken care of, and that's been pretty much the gist of our existence for the last couple of weeks.
Where do you think? And gentlemen, we got a letter from the chief. When he comes to his report next month, I'll have him read his letter that he did to the Salvation Army, who are wonderful about helping them in many, many ways.
Was he ever found?
No.
So, and Brett, you did your report. Brad, you're done. Let's see what we got next, guys. Ready? Accounts payable. Thanks, Brett. You have a good evening.
You guys too.
Brad, I don't know how you want to do this. And I know I didn't have a lot of time. All the Spectrum bills were in the invoices, but there was no checks cut for any of those. All the Spectrum.
That's because they're manuals.
Well, they're not even listed.
Oh.
They're not listed in the check register. So is the city. So
The city was not. That was in there by error. It was not.
Does it need to be?
It doesn't need to be approved. The city does not need to be approved.
Okay, so the city does not. The Spectrums, they're already paid, correct?
Yes.
So do you want to enter those as manual checks?
They are manual checks.
But I mean,
They're not on. They weren't on that list.
No,
So they weren't on the first part, but the second part, were they on the second
they're
part?
not on either. There's no Spectrum whatsoever. There's no information on Eagle Printer.
That should have been the last page of the packet.
Was that wasn't a manual check, right?
Nope.
Was your Life Quest a manual check?
No, that should be a hard check too. Is it not?
I thought you said, oh, yep, that's in there. So you said Eagle was the last,
Should have been the last one in the packet. Should be.
how come it was the last?
There was one that was added last.
Oh,
It was one of those as we were going through, we realized it was missed, so it was put in there.
Home Depot, I could not figure out Home Depot. Or, Amazon, what a mess.
The Amazon's all told.
I know it totals up, but you can't follow. I couldn't follow it. Did you follow Amazon?
I have to confess, I didn't look at it today.
I mean, I know we have to pay the bills, but do you wanna do those spectrums? Can you add those all up and add those to?
Yeah,
Manual
my
check?
internet here's not working for some reason. Let me,
I know they were, the spectrum bills were in the pile, but, not listed in any of the checks.
so I can't even,
Is the AP 63,841?
that's what it should be.
The Conley bill too, Brad, is, coded on, it's, it went to all the election stuff. And there's road stuff. Oh, and the other thing, the Macy bill, there's, charges that, should have gone to, Scott Provencher that we're paying for.
Okay.
And why did John, I'll call John, because he's got some charges on there that, did anybody look at the legal bill? Not you, John. I mean,
That's not what I'm doing.
the Polkowski Trust, I don't know why he's, a DOT meeting, he looked at our letter?
I didn't, what letter?
I'll call John.
For
Yeah,
DOT.
he charged us for the letter that we did, and, the Scott Provencher, there's 3 charges. It's that access agreement he needed, so
Yes.
there's 3 charges that should go to Scott, that's not ours.
Okay.
Just so. And he charged to look at Jim's non-candidacy form. Did you see that, Jim?
No,
That would not have been shared with them.
No?
No, I don't know, that wasn't shared with them.
Yeah, I'll send him an email, because there's a bunch of.
Anyway.
Give that bill to Jim.
Yeah. Yeah, like Brad, if you can add these up quick, I mean, you could just put these in manual check.
Yeah, let me see.
There's
They
3 of them?
were in, my computer's not
Oh, here, let
connected
me-
to the internet. It's not on here. I thought they were,
Yeah, if I can pull my Excel up, I'll just do a quick, the spectrum bill for the, oh, come on, for the town is, $25.54. And our other town, village one, oops, that's a quarter for me, the $5.69 our normal keep, that's on there, it would be a manual check, and $129.99 for the fire department. So we would have manual checks in the amount of $724.53. I'll leave that for manual. But, I mean, just for the sake of discussion, I'd make a motion to approve accounts payable in the amount of $63,000. Sorry, guys.
841.63.
$841.63. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Discussion. Brad, all this stuff I can get to you later, and I'll email John on I'll make a separate motion, Brad, for the spectrum. Is there anything else?
I would have to go and look. I don't know why this isn't connecting to the internet.
Any discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Abstain.
Oh, one abstention, Jim's abstaining. And then for our manual check.
I didn't vote yet, I got a question actually.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Um,
I'm sorry.
So wait, why, I agree, the Amazon numbers aren't balancing.
What do you mean?
I did,
They
you know,
should.
I added them, if you add all of, but to try to cross-check, that's why I wanted to look at the actual bill.
Yeah.
They
I
do
mean,
add up.
Yeah, they add
I
up.
think- I came up with 2 cents off, you know, but I'll give you the 2 cents.
I went through that one specifically because when I went through the bills, I made sure they added up, and they added up specifically
Yeah, the
to
problem
it.
is the way they put,
Yeah, so the first bills, like the first 3 add up to the first amount, and then the next ones add up to the final amount.
yeah, but that was really, yeah, I mean, I added them all individually.
There are some, I don't say cross, they don't go line for line on those bills.
I thought Amazon did better billing than, I don't know, unless they were cut apart or something. I mean, I did add them up, I mean, they do add up to, and like I said, the Home Depot, I'm sure, I wanted to look at the original bills, because sometimes on the original is better than what's in our packet. I still would pay the bill. And, Brad, there's another one we have to add that was not in, it's the printer. When we get the
Yeah.
manual checks, that was in the packet, but not on the checklist.
Yeah, so they should,
It's like 1,600.
yeah, I don't know why.
And you guys agree, with, there's bills in here that were for Scott Provencher for his agreement that he needed? I mean, anytime someone incurs a bill for plan commission, that's on there. I mean, if we're consistent, I mean,
Well, for the meantime, again, we need to pay bills, so count my vote as to pass it. But, yeah, if we could clarify that.
and, Dylan, forgive me, what your question was, on Amazon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I had problems following it. I did add it up, I added up the Amazon charges, and I added up what was in Workhorse, and it did, like I said, it came up 2 pennies, but it could have been my addition. I'm just trying to find that one bill, Brad, to add it. It was in the board members' packet. It's for the copier for the village hall and the copier for the fire department, and we always pay at ACH.
Yep, delaying.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to find that amount. We can just put, that's not, that we're gonna put in manual check. So we have a motion made and a second. Dylan, I'm sorry, when I called up, for the vote, are you voting for it or?
Yeah, I'll vote for it.
Okay. And then
I couldn't add numbers and vote at the same time, that's my role.
So further discussion from the board. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried. And,
We did vote.
We
Oh, I'm
did, but
Because I abstained.
I'm sorry, gentlemen. Now I'm gonna make you vote on.
Manual check?
Yeah, I just for, my motion would be to approve the Spectrum bills for 2554, 569, 129.99, and the D-Line copier bill for $1,320.45 for a total manual check. Drum roll, please, it's tiny. $2,034.98. That's my motion. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Second by trustee Millies. Discussion. Like I said, gentlemen, these, they were in the packet, just not on the check register, and I know they've paid those by ACH, so I figured if we approved them on manual checks, is that okay?
That's fine. I'll have a complete register next time of this, and if there was any additional ACHs that were in there that weren't
Everything
approved
else-
tonight,
Oh, yeah.
then they will be on the next the next one.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure because the information was there, they just weren't on the register, so. Further discussion from the board? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. As Brad stated, we're getting close to, there's one other item that we have to fix for workhorse, and we're getting close on ACS. The problem is, you know, that we have made so many journal entries and stuff since June, but that should be forthcoming quickly. ACH payments, we'll have that soon from Workhorse. And then Brad, did everybody see Brad's email on invoices that we need to void out of Workhorse? They're duplicate invoices for Brad to clean everything up. And per the ordinance, we have to make a motion approving Brad to void those invoices out.
Okay.
Brad, do you want that how do you feel it would be easier for you?
Well, I will defer to the board to what the past practice has been.
Yeah.
So there was the list, there's 12 in total, there was 10 on the first, and then there's 2 additional, one for Tuchular and one for Hockenberry, that the total amount comes to void is $2,662.49. The background on this is when we were working with the system, I accidentally posted these bills to it, and so they were just duplicates, and as you saw, the backup in there showed that they were basically duplicates of the previous billing, so that's what the reason for these voids are.
I'll make that motion. Second.
And then the invoice numbers, I'll just 10002 to 1020, ending with Gibson.
Yes.
And so that covers all of them, Brad?
Yeah, let me just
The 1000 has nothing on it, so we don't have to void that, or do we have to void a zero invoice?
You could just put on there to be safe.
Okay, so as Jim stated with his motion, $2,662.44 of duplicate entries from invoices 1,000 to 1,020. Is that okay, Jim, to add that? Any trustee Newman, second. Discussion.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Aren't you authorized to just do that
Ooh, God.
stuff?
No, so these were automatic. I have had, some of these have already been voided in the system, but we haven't done anything further in the system. As it was recalled after we had done it that they were voided. So that's what we're bringing back to, but we haven't done any further billing since then.
It stems back to our old issue.
That's what I think. I thought we had done away with that. I mean,
Yeah. No.
Just following procedure.
Yep. Yeah, just when Brad asked me, I said, oh my God, bring it to the board, because, I mean, what he was doing, you know, it's obvious, he's getting rid of duplicate bills.
Yeah.
But, you know, if anybody would say anything, at least he brought it to the board and got board consent. I mean, so, did we vote on that?
Yes.
Okay, guys, agenda, let's see, we're probably into the minutes now. Let's see.
Did we vote on
Yes.
it? No, we didn't vote on it, did we?
no,
Oh, I'm
We
sorry.
didn't vote on
I
it.
don't think so.
The motion was to approve the duplicate billing in the amount of $2,662.49 by trustee Swanee, and trustee Newman seconded the motion.
That's right.
And I listed the invoice numbers 1,000 to 1,020. Any discussion on that motion? Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Now we're into minutes, guys.
So updated ones were sent to you. There was one additional change that trustee Millies brought to our point. It was noted that he made a motion, but he wasn't at the meeting, so we'll go back and correct that if the board is.
Yeah, I think Karen said that was correct.
Yeah, the original one. So yeah, so if the original one or the second one
Oh, yeah.
was sent out, then
Did you send the ones that I redid, Fran?
yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah, everybody should have gotten them this morning, I believe.
Yeah.
So is there a motion to approve January 4th, 2024 village board minutes?
I'll make the motion.
Trustee Finch, discussion, second to that motion. I'll second the motion. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'll abstain.
Jeff abstained because you weren't there. January 12th, is there a motion to?
18th.
I'm sorry, January 18th. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of January 18th, 2024?
I'll make the motion.
Motion was by trustee Finch. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Second by trustee Mills. Discussion? Discussion, hearing none, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The 25th was it?
Staff, that one we'll have, get next time.
Okay, February 1st. Was February 1st in there?
Those might not have been, I think there were
No.
6 sets of minutes in there, if I recall.
I have a 19th. Oh, this is yeah, so we're at the, February 19th is a board and finance committee minutes. I'd make a motion to approve those minutes. Is there a second?
I'll second it
Second.
with, under adjournment, changing NEW to NEU, and 2 N's at the end of my last name.
Oh, for God's sakes. With, a motion was made and seconded with, trustee Newman's name spelled correctly. Now he's in the salad dressing business.
It just was on item 4, miscellaneous matters, the last line in A, it's village board, missing a D.
Let's see. What was it for?
4A, last line.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, village board, got it.
nice catch.
Okay.
I'm not good at catching spelling mistakes.
So I have a motion made and seconded with a correction to trustee Newman's name spelled correctly instead of the village the board. All in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'll abstain.
We have 2 abstains, but it passed by trustee Newman, trustee Finch, and Karen Chu. Then we have February 22nd. Well, let's do the February 22nd, 2:30 via Zoom meeting.
That one wasn't on there.
Oh, wasn't on there?
No,
Yeah, it's on our packet.
Oh.
it was in the packet, but it wasn't on the agenda.
Oh, sorry. But February 22nd at 6 p.m. 's on there. That was a public information meeting for the Center Bridge. Is there a motion to approve? I'll make that motion. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Second by trustee Newman, spelled correctly. Any discussion on the motion? Discussion, hearing none. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Abstain. So trustee Newman, trustee Finch, and Shu voted yes. And trustee Millies and trustee Swanee abstained. I'm just going to quick announce our next board meeting is March 22nd at 6 p.m. We do have that public hearing at 6 p.m. We do have a plan
21st.
commission.
21?
21st.
21st.
You said 22nd.
I'm sorry, 21st village board meeting at 6 p.m. and we do have our public hearing at 6 p.m. and then a regular board meeting after that public hearing. March 13th, 2024 is a combined plan commission board meeting. And just as a reminder, as Brad said, April 2nd is the spring election and presidential preference election at Big Bend Elementary School. And open book, just so residents, I would keep putting this on so they know, June 11th from 9 a.m. to 1. With that, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
So trustee Millies and trustee Swanee, discussion, gentlemen. Discussion, hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Yay! Thanks, guys. It was a great meeting. John Macy thought we'd meet here till 10 o'clock.
Finally got rid of
So did I.
Navy, huh?
But what? It's gonna be a long one.
Oh, it is. It's the long one.
Yeah, it was.
Do you